GarageBand Weekly, GarageBand Weekly, GarageBand Weekly. Ooh. Need an answer to your question, John, you'll have a suggestion. Who's a fountain of all knowledge? I think he might have gone to GarageBand College. What he doesn't know, we'll try and find out. So join the chat and give him a shout. Hey, John. Hey, John. GarageBand Weekly.
Why, thank you, Kronk Song. Yes, welcome into another GarageBand Weekly here on Studio Live today. My name's Pete Johns, and for the next hour or so, we'll be chatting about all things GarageBand, Logic, Apple, music creation related. And we do it thanks to, me and my GarageBand FAQ. If you go to studiolivetoday.com/GarageBand, you'll find all my GarageBand information. You got the FAQ, you got the playlist, you got links to Logic Pro stuff as well. It's all there. Today, not surprisingly, the big news is all about all of the iOS and iPadOS and macOS 26. So yes, we've moved from iOS 18 and iPadOS 18 and macOS 15. Everything's just gone to 26, which, look, it's easier. We now know which number we all need to look for, and we'll be talking about it, and we'll be taking a look at it as well. We'll be getting hands-on. If you've not seen it, if you've not seen the videos I've put out so far, we'll be getting hands-on with iPadOS 26 specifically, because that's kind of my focus. GarageBand iOS and Logic Pro for iPad are my main focuses around here, as well as other things. To be honest, this show could be called Tangents Weekly or Pete Rants About Random Topics Weekly, because that's what we kind of do, and I kind of like it that way. If you are here live, feel free to throw your questions in the chat. Put a big Q in front of them. That will help me flag them and tag them and make sure I can answer any questions you may have, because we are interactive around here. If you're on the replay, I love you just as much. Just put your questions in the comments below. I spend half my life, it seems, in the comment sections. I go for big long walks every day with my phone, and my YouTube Studio app is always open and I'm tapping away safely. I'm not crossing roads and tapping away. I'm walking down by the river and tapping away. We'll say good day to the folks who are here live, and then we will dive in, because we've got a lot of news, a lot of stuff, a lot of blowback, no? Fallout? No? Something like that from WWDC and all the new announcements. So we'll talk about all that in just a jiffy. But how about we get in and say hello to some folks? Yes, Thomas Christ, we're getting hands-on. Ding. Absolutely. I've got to fix these on the fly, because Thomas and I have been working on getting all of these things set up here, and I realized that I haven't updated and changed the comment section on this particular show's template. So we're going to be doing this as we go on the fly. Nothing like a bit of professionalism around here, yeah? There you go. That's close enough. Hello, Thomas. Hello to Marky Bark Bro. We've got Angel Talvera here. Hello, Danny Gable. G'day to you, Emilio. We've got Eric B here. Thank you for being here. Mr. Sean Chandler is here. Jamie Lynn, Tremor Bear. G'day to all of you fine folks. Who's boozing now? I'm on the coffee because it's 8:34 a.m. Not that I judge. Hello, Paws and Guitars. I hope you are doing well as well. And yeah, there's Thomas Christ telling us that your donations are never expected, but always definitely appreciated. You got to keep it appreciated. Quickly, I'm just going to edit this text, because that is way too large. I know Thomas is larger than life, but I think we need to reduce the size of this text down, just so that we can read it. But it doesn't need to be quite that big. There you go. That's a little better. All right. Let's dive in here and talk news and notes, shall we? Hello, View My Bits, who's just joined us as well. Hope you are all doing well. So news and notes, let's talk about it. WWDC, iPadOS 26, iOS 26, macOS 26. They're all unveiled. The big news is they got the big liquid glass. So apparently this has been inspired by the Vision Pro. If you're not aware, the Vision Pro is the giant nerd helmet that Apple released over a year ago, and to some controversy, because it was $3,500. If you think that's bad, it's $6,000 here in Australia. If you're wondering why Johns isn't rocking the Apple nerd helmet, and he's a big Apple fan person, $6,000. $6,000 is my MacBook, my Mac Studio, and my iPad combined. So instead of buying a laptop an iPad and a desktop, I could have bought one nerd helmet. So that's why I don't own one. But the interface, like the see-through, the transparency, apparently all inspired by the 3D environment of the Vision Pro, which there's been some controversial takes on that because accessibility, and are we back to skeuomorphism after being a flat design for the last 10 years since iOS 7? Are we back to the bubbly things and the 3D textures? A little bit, yeah. So it's interesting. You'll see it in action. So we've got the new multitasking, window tiling on your iPad, menu bars, and the new Files app. In macOS, you get your phone now, the enhanced spotlight, which I'm keen to play with. Let me know if you'd like me to put macOS 26 on my old Mac Mini and have a play. I've been tempted to. So if you want to see macOS 26 in action, but there's plenty of videos out there about it. The new enhanced spotlight where you can just type in things and run shortcuts, and that looks kind of cool. You've got continuity boosts as well. So a lot of it's been around having that connection between iOS, iPadOS, macOS, and creating that flow so that regardless of what device you're using, you can just bounce around between them easily. And as someone who came from the Windows world and who never liked macOS, I never understood it. Basically, as soon as they started iOSifying Mac, that's when I started actually using it. I don't think if macOS didn't change with the invent of the M1 and M2 and M4 and etc., I don't think I'd be using a Mac, because I used to go into the Apple store and play with the iPhones and play with the iPads, and I'd go to the Mac and I would be completely lost. I'd be like, how do I right click? Where's the buttons at? Why won't things close when I ask them to close? How do I alt tab between things? Why when I alt tab does it not stay alt tabbed? What the hell is a Finder? Where's my file manager? What's going on here? Why can't I even just view my hard drive? Why are you hiding things from me? So yeah, that was my response. Now it's getting better, and the problem is, unfortunately for some Mac users, they're telling me that they think it's getting worse. So I guess it's in the eye of the beholder, isn't it? Depending on which one you're more comfortable with. What else did we have updated? Well, Apple Music has had some updates, which kind of slid under the radar. We've got things like the new AutoMix, which I demonstrated on my iPadOS 26 video. We can play with that today if you want to have another little look at it, which is like a virtual, they say it's a virtual DJ. It's an algorithm that mixes and blends your songs okay. You can now translate and pronounce lyrics, so that'll actually put on your screen. If you're singing along, it'll actually have the lyrics, but it'll also translate and give you the pronunciation if they're in another language. And the new Apple Music Sing experience brings karaoke to the Apple TV with mic support. So if you didn't see that one, what it looks like, is you get an Apple TV and then you get a bunch of people with iPhones and you play Apple Music on the Apple TV and everyone sings along karaoke style. And if you think that sounds a bit weird, that's where SingStar and those Sing apps are at now, where you don't use microphones anymore because the microphone in your phone is about as good as any cruddy quality wireless mic's going to be anyway. Is there a bit of latency? Yes. Is the quality not perfect? Yes. But hey, it does a pretty good job. So I'm looking forward to trying that out. Maybe I can stream some Apple Music karaoke sessions live here on the channel. Let me know if you'd like to see that. If you dare me to do that. And it's pretty cool though, because people can apparently queue songs. So you queue up the songs and then everyone sings along to them. And hey, it could be a good old time. The Apple TV also getting a liquid glass makeover and that karaoke mode, as we talked about, which looks like it could be a bit of fun. Something again to do with your tvOS. And the last thing, the burying the lead thing is that I don't know if you've seen these. If you're an Apple nerd like me, you would have seen that Jules, and Craig Federighi were interviewed by everyone. So they did this big press tour. So Apple do this occasionally where they're like, all right, these 10 outlets can get access to our actual people. And they'll very carefully select the outlets that they know are not going to ask too many hardball questions. So that being said, people like the Wall Street Journal, I did respect their interview, because they basically came out and said, last year you told us Siri was coming and Bugger Lugs was coming and it was going to be better. And now it's not here. What happened? And I kind of liked that direct response. And Craig Federici was like, well, the thing is, it was there. And look, they answered it in a way that's not completely disingenuous. They said it wasn't at the standard that we wanted it to be. And we didn't want to release something that was not going to work. And remember, this was around the whole glue on your pizza to keep your cheese on and eat rocks for iron that was coming from other AI models. So basically, if you read between the lines, Apple said, we didn't want our bugger-lugs to give you ridiculous answers that then people could take the piss out of. So we hit pause instead of doing it. And look, to be honest, that's kind of what Apple did this time around. So if WWDC 24 was overpromise, underdeliver, get into the AI hype, talk everything up, then 25 was the closest that you get to an Apple apology. They didn't actually come out and say it, but they kind of said it by not saying it, which is, yeah, we definitely went a bit overboard with all this AI stuff. We've realized that we need to play to our strengths now. We want to do the stuff on device that we can do. We're going to open up that Apple AI to developers to develop apps, which is cool because we want that. We want our third-party apps to have access to as much of the power as the first-party apps are, so that's a good thing. And we're going to continue using ChatGPT. So you might have heard there was 3 or 4 mentions of ChatGPT saying that for things like image generation, guess what? ChatGPT is better. It uses DALL-E, and it's a lot better than anything that you could do with Genmoji or Image Playground. So they're kind of admitting that, yeah, we gave it a crack, didn't really work out for us. And the other interesting thing out of all of this is that all of the things that Apple have been resistant to for the last, I would say, 4 to 5 years. So I've been doing this channel for 8 years, but for especially the last 3 to 4 years, as soon as the M1 came out, basically, and especially when the M1 hit the iPad, the biggest criticism has been you've got overpowered hardware and underpowered software. So you've got this amazing hardware. You've got these M1s and M2s and M4 iPads with 8 and 16 gigabytes of RAM, and they can run one application at a time in full screen mode, and that's it. And a couple of years ago when they added things like Stage Manager, Slide Over, Split Screen, that was them saying, okay, we'll gently just give you a little bit. You're not getting windowing, you're not getting multitasking, you're not getting background processing, but we'll give you a little bit. And now it's almost like they just ripped the Band-Aid off and they went, you know what? You're right. We don't want to, again, we're not going to say, you were totally right, let's put macOS on your iPad, even though they 100% could because the chip architecture is almost identical. But or put a touchscreen on a Mac, but they've said, okay, we'll give you the traffic lights, we'll give you the windowing, we'll give you the background processing, we'll give you pretty much everything apart from, the Unix back end and a command prompt, which I got a comment from someone that said, can't they just give us a command prompt and we can just run it how we want to? I think shortcuts is as close as you're going to get to that, and the spotlight search, so being able to use that is similar, but I get it. It's never going to be. It is a consumer device, and I don't think the iPad is ever going to be the device for that professional or that nerd that really just wants to get in there and hack around and get in at the file system level. So I'm, for one, welcome the change. And I said to someone, I was chatting about this, and I said, look, would it have been nice if they just started doing this 4 years ago when they launched the M1 iPad? Yes, it's about 4 years later than it should be. But you gotta, with stuff like this, you gotta say, well, at least we got it now. And at least we're gonna have this for the future. At least we hope so. So that's my take on everything WWDC, all the changes that we had. And let's put the caveat out there, the warning out there up front. If you are in the middle of any projects, if you have a daily driver that you rely upon, that you use GarageBand or Logic Pro or anything with, please don't update it right now. Please. I get enough emails from people that just in the general day-to-day running of things somehow accidentally break their system or lose all their files or their iCloud drive goes crazy. So yeah, please, just for the love of your deity of choice, only do this if you are really sure you want to, and if you've got a second device, because if you've only got the one device and it causes problems and your file system gets, because they've changed a lot of stuff. And the other thing I heard folks saying was that everything that was announced is in the beta versions. So remember last year, they were like, oh, in the future, you'll be able to do this and 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 this. And then you downloaded the beta version and nothing was there. None of the stuff that you could do was actually even in the beta version. Well, this time around, absolutely everything, as you'll see in a moment as well. Your comments here, the answer lies in between. As a Mac and a PC user, I can tell you that they both have their advantages and their flaws. Different tools for different jobs. Yes, different tools for different Steve Jobs. People don't go out and buy those clunky karaoke machines anymore. I know, remember the days of the clunky karaoke machine? You got one for Christmas? A nerd helmet or a karaoke machine? Hopefully the former, not the latter. Hope you're doing well. Tremor Bear says, I'm excited because the new Line 6 Helix Stadium is coming out this fall. Nice. I like it. I've never used any of the Line 6 gear, but it definitely does look good. I've got to get these comments right, don't I? It's a hard thing. Yeah. Wonder if they'll ever add term. Yeah, look. And that's the thing. I know that's what people have been asking for, but I don't believe so. Well, at least I don't think so. M1 iPad Pro was released over 4 years ago with the M1 iMac. Yeah, and that's the thing. 4 years ago would have been, in my opinion, the perfect time to make these sort of file changes to iPadOS. But at the time, they didn't. And by the way, little secret hidden thing here, a lot of the split screen and slide over stuff was only on Pros. And now that's been expanded out to everything from like the iPad 8th generation onwards and the Mini 5 can use this stuff now. So they've basically said, yeah, it wasn't even a limitation. It wasn't even that we needed the M series chip. You can do this on an A12, as you'll see when I demo it later, and you can do this on some much lower end gear. The only reason I remember the Line 6 pod is that I used to see them in cash converters all the time. Every time I go to a secondhand store, I'd just see Line 6 pods sitting there because people would buy them, use them, realize that they were overkill for what they needed, and then go and sell them. Yes, I'm so behind. So that's a really good point. Thank you, Dynamite Throw. And by the way, huge shout out to Dynamite Throw for a very kind donation today. So you rock, my friend. Thank you so much for that. I genuinely appreciate it. Yes, you do. You need to catch up because I've put out about 2 videos a day on average. It's why the voice is like this. I promise you, the next 48 hours I plan to not speak. So this is my last show of the week. My week goes Thursday to Tuesday, and it's Tuesday morning here in Australia. So I will be resting. So the way that the release schedule's at the moment, they released the developer beta, or beta if you prefer, which is the version that I'll show you here today. And then next month, there's going to be the public beta in July. And then they said fall, which is spring for me. I think I said spring in one video, and someone tore me apart in the comments. They're like, oh, you said spring. September isn't in spring. And I'm like, hemispheres, biatch. Didn't say it like that, but I thought it pretty loud. I'm like, yeah, see how there's like these two, we're in a globe and there's 2 halves of it and the seasons. Anyway, it's not important. But yes, it'll most likely be in, let's just say September, because that's when they release iPhones and that's when we'll see the iPhone. Here's the big question though. What will the iPhone be called? Will it be the iPhone 26? Will they just go to that naming? Google did it, I think, or Samsung, one of those did. I think Google with their Android devices. So will that be aligned? Will it be iOS 26 on the iPhone 26? Or will they go iPhone 17? What do you reckon? My money's probably on 26. I'm not sure. Yeah. Video anxiety when you can't catch up. What do they do? Like email? You declare email bankruptcy. Declare Studio Live Today subscription bankruptcy, and just start from now. And I'll show you most of the cool stuff in this video anyway. So if you hang around, you'll be good. Yeah, it wouldn't be without precedent, hey. We will see. We will find out soon. So do we have any other news and notes? I don't believe so. Do we have any questions from folks here? I don't believe so either. So if you do have any questions throughout the show, as I say, we are interactive around here. So feel free to just throw your question in, put a big Q in front of it. That just tells me that there's a question that we will try to answer. And I do want to give a shout out to a few folks, Pook, Anna, and was it Robert? There was a third person that have all asked me questions in the last 4 days. I replied to you all today saying, sorry, I haven't replied to you. I do try to get back to people and help folks out. It just is that because this is my job, I do that sort of stuff outside of the getting a video out every day and doing the live streams. So sometimes I'm able to answer immediately, but if you've emailed me or messaged me and I haven't got back to you, it's not because I don't love you. Hello, Ed Z. It's more likely that I've been juggling things and life as well. Life sometimes gets in the way. Maybe it'll be the iPhone 26 with the A20. Yeah, everything 26, because that's the thing. Will it be the A26 chips in the iPhone 26 running iOS 26? It would make things a heck of a lot easier, wouldn't it? Kind of don't like jumping version numbers, kills the continuity, but they do significantly change occurred with the it was a significant change. At least it wasn't just they didn't really do anything, but they changed the number. We're going to take a quick break here. If you've got YouTube Premium, you'll see nothing. If you don't, you might see nothing, or you might be over an ad right now. And we do that because I got to pay the bills. I gotta make sure that my children have clothes on their back. And thanks to all of you folks. So thank you to everyone who supports me in other ways, in ways such as the Patreon, the membership. We had a really cool and fun after party yesterday, and I'm trying to do that at least every 2 weeks, if not every week. So after Your Music Live each week, we hang out with the members. And yesterday we went down memory lane and we checked out my songs from the 1990s, from 1997, the band of mine called Scarpa back in the day, and we played a bunch of those here on the show. So yeah, if you missed that, become a member and you'll get to not only come to future after parties, but you'll be able to enjoy the past ones. You'll be able to go to the archives and check out all the members-only content that you may have missed. I want an iPhone with Doritos chips, yeah. What kind of chip you got in there? A Dorito? You use in a 286? Don't make me laugh. Your Windows boots up in, what, a day and a half? Yeah, Weird Al. It's all about the Pentiums, baby. Robert Latz is here. G'day to you, Robert. Hope you are doing well, my friend. You ready to dive in? Should we jump in and have a look at this new thing? We've talked about it long enough. Why don't we dive in and have a look? Let's see if my system's going to play nicely. Ooh, it has. And it looks good, doesn't it? Welcome to the new transparent, translucent world of Apple liquid glass. And you can see there as we scroll around here, especially things like this, you're seeing the background coming through. So you're probably noticing two things immediately. One is that we've now got a pointer that's a pointer. Yeah, your pointer is an arrow as opposed to the blob that we had before. We just had a blob. And I must admit, it actually is a little easier to make sure that you're actually tapping. I don't know if you've used a mouse or a trackpad with your iPad much, but it is much easier to actually see what you're tapping on and tap and click on the right sort of stuff here when you're using the pointer. So I'll give kudos for that change. It's a simple one, but it's useful. And the other thing is the transparency. Now, I just played with this because the first thing I thought, and it's funny, whenever I see a new thing, I'm like, okay, how do I turn it off? If it really annoys me, how do I change it? So if you're having issues with the transparency and the translucent thing, and you don't like the three-dimensional skeuomorphic kind of design, all you need to do is go to your settings and come in here to the accessibility. In fact, I'll go back there. So if you're playing with this and you want to try this out, you go to accessibility, you go to display and text size, and reduce transparency. I love that they don't say turn off glass, because they don't want you to be like, oh, I don't want liquid glass, because of course everyone wants liquid glass, but you can do that. And then when you come back out here, you can see that those transparent backgrounds turned gray. Now they still have the little pop-up 3Dified thing. I haven't found anywhere where you can turn off that, but I don't actually mind that, because all that really does is highlights what you've got your thing on. And I don't mind that, because it actually just gives you a little bit of visibility of where your pointer is, as well as the actual pointer. And there you go. So Mark, if you like the pointer, but you don't want the glass, there's your option as we try and fix these, try and fix this text box again. Welcome to Experiments 101. I got this all set up, and then I realized that I'd only set it up for my Your Music Live show. So I need to now reset it up here and make some changes here for this one. That's right. How much liquid glass do you want? A little or a lot? I want all. Give me all the liquid glass, please. All right, let's take you into a little more detail here. So, your GarageBand users, your Logic Pro users. So that's where we're going to start here. Do you want me to? I'll turn the glass back on. I'll do this. The other thing I haven't done is I haven't looked at the pointer options. So why don't we just have a quick look at our trackpad options? That's our tracking speed, natural scrolling, tap to click, two finger, secondary click. There's other mouse options. So they still haven't fixed this because in previous versions, so is it in here? No, it's not mouse keys. Or is it? There's somewhere where you can change the pointer. And if someone knows it, I'm looking at you, Emilio. Emilio's always the expert with this sort of stuff. It's not called pointer anymore. Insertion point color. So there is somewhere where you used to be able to change the controls here on the trackpad. And it wasn't this one. It wasn't mouse keys and it wasn't trackpad. Oh, pointer devices. Magic keyboard. Customize additional buttons. No. So there is a spot you can do it. If someone knows it, let me know. Because maybe you can't. You must be able to. Is it under accessibility? Well, yeah, I'm under accessibility now, aren't I? Assistive touch. Used to be somewhere around here. Is it assistive touch you have to turn on? Oh no, see that gives you back the old one. But there's somewhere where you can change the color and the size of the arrow. But I'll have to find it. Maybe that'll be another video once I work it out. Is that I'll do a separate one, which is how to change your mouse pointer size and color. Because I haven't changed anything and it's just carried across my red because everything's red for me because it goes faster. Let's load up GarageBand. And the first thing you'll notice is not much different here. So it all kind of looks. Oh, this was me. This is the song "Sober" from yesterday that we were playing around with on the live show. So let's take a listen.
I heard a little voice inside my head, but now I'm sober.
So out of the box, there's not much different here until you come up to the top of your screen. And you know why nothing's happening? I've changed the mode here. I got too tricky for myself because I've already changed this multitasking and gestures. I turned it back to full screen. I was playing around with it and I put it on full screen. So here, let us show you this first. General trackpad and mouse. I'm going to check that out afterwards, Robert. Thank you. I'll flag your comment there. So this is why it's great to do these shows live, because we get folks that know more than I do and that can find the right things. So here in your settings, you can actually come in here to multitasking and gestures, because if you're in love with the old Stage Manager, no idea why you would be, but just so you were, you can go back to that. You can stay full screen. So if you're using, say, and I did this on my iPad mini, because to be honest, this ain't that good for the mini. Like the mini struggles for screen real estate as it is. But if you go to windowed apps, this is where you can now get your windows going on. So you can see immediately that this is gone and it's become a windowed app. So we'll close out of that and let's jump in here. Hello, Clayton Von Kluge. Hope you're well. So now when we go up to the top here, you'll see we get a whole new world of options. And if you're using your finger, you can still move things around and you can still tap up the top here. But I haven't found a way, tell me if I'm mistaken, to get the menu bars. But you probably wouldn't want to. If you're just using your finger to tap around, you can. Okay, you can drag down from the top. I tell an absolute lie. See, this is why we do things live as well. So if you just swipe down from the top, you can still access the menu there with your finger, as I'm doing now. Or you can use your pointer, and with your pointer, as soon as you go to the top, it will bring up your menu options like that. So that's cool. Under pointer, control, and accessibility. All right, thank you, Emilio. Emilio and Robert have both given us some details. We'll check that out afterwards once we've played around with this a little bit more. So what can we do with this? Well, we can minimize, just like you can on a Mac. You can reopen there. You can full screen, which it already is. So you can go between the lower mode here And then if you tap on full screen, it goes back to full screen size. And the thing is that different apps have different sizing that they can do. So for instance, GarageBand here, that is as small as it goes. So Apple have obviously built in that, hey, if you make GarageBand too small, it's not really going to be usable. So you can grab the bottom corner here and you can expand it out like so. But if you try to bring it back in, it won't go any further that way. So it's just worth keeping in mind. Now, in terms of the controls we have up the top here, look, they're interesting. There's nothing here that I've found that is anything different. So all they really are is the keyboard controls. So everything that you see up here is just your keyboard controls. So your transport here is all your keyboard controls for that. Your mix is your keyboard controls. So see how it's got the little number, the little letter next to it? This is just telling you. So you'd probably know, or if you don't, you can. If you would like to say mute a track, you can hit your M key and see how that track's muting and unmuting. And then when you go up here to your where was I? Your track. Yeah, toggle mute is that. So it's good, but it's really just replicating whatever the shortcuts. And look, that could change. Apple may change that. Third-party apps can definitely change that because they've got access to what they put in these menus. So if they wanted to add in newer or different or advanced features, they can do that. Yeah, let's look at the file option. No. So there's only an open recent. So this is interesting because Mark Bros asked, is there a save option under file or edit? And there isn't. All you can do is close the window or you can open. So this is the only thing. So open, and if you didn't know, open is Command O. So if we go Command O, oh, it didn't work. There you go. Did I mention that it's a beta version? No, so it didn't work to open. Oh, because we can't open from this screen. That's why, because it's blanked out. But if we were back at the original, so if we'd gone out here, I think from here is where you can file open. No, it only works if you've selected something. So you have to actually have selected something. That one's going to download. Selected the wrong one. So once you've selected it. But if you tap it, it's going to open anyway. So the open function's kind of useless. To be honest, it's only if you've got something selected out here, but as soon as you select it, it's going to open anyway. So, yeah. But what was the other one? The open recent. So I guess handily, you could come up here and hit File, Open Recent, and go, let's find this version of Lucky, and it comes out and finds it and opens it. So that's not terrible, is it? That's all right. Like having your recent files there, like you do in Mac apps. And not having to go and navigate and find through. So, and then it crashed. There you go. So, yeah, didn't work as such, but it could and should. So, yeah, you will find this. And that's probably another good reason. If you're just joining us and you're like, what's this? I want this. Me wanty. You don't wanty unless you're really, really sure you wanty. Because you'll have issues like that where it will just completely crash. So, not really much there. The one final cool thing I'll show you here is under GarageBand. You can go GarageBand settings. And what this does is it takes you out, opens up the settings app and takes you directly to the GarageBand advanced settings. A lot of folks don't even know these exist. So this is where you can do things like turn on your keyboard note labels, make sure that you've got the Apple audio unit extensions enabled. It's where you can reset GarageBand if you need to. So it's got a bunch of different settings in there. And then when you're done with it, the cool thing is you can just go see ya and jump back over here. So yeah, there's some things there. Actual functionality wise, is there anything? Not really. I haven't found anything, at least at this stage. And that doesn't mean that they won't add things or change things as we go on. But for now, it's really just a what do they call it? Oh, that's good. Wow. Outstanding. It's still making that noise. I've just turned it down. So that's the sort of things you'll get. Once again, do not update. Please do not update because you'll do this. And if there's projects that you are really concerned about, yeah, that just crashed again. If there's files that you want to make sure you don't corrupt, don't open them in this and then go back to your other device, because you kind of don't know what damage they might be doing. It's why I'm only using these like copies of and tutorial songs and things that I don't really care about. They're the ones that I'm opening here, because if I had projects I'm working on, I wouldn't want to open them here. Let's see if we can open it and if it'll actually play back this time. What do you reckon? You good? Yes, the bzzzt and then the death. Yeah. The joy, exactly. The joys of beta testing for sure. So again, don't do it. Don't do it. Friends don't let friends update to new versions. Should we take a little squizzle at Logic Pro perhaps? Yeah. So Logic Pro is probably even more underwhelming, but I guess the best part of Logic Pro, as you'll see when we open it up here, is that it has much more changeability in terms of its sizing. So we can actually manipulate the size to pretty much whatever we want. You can turn it into the tiniest little corner. Look at that adorable little Logic Pro in the corner. Yes. And let's see if this is going to play. That's better. And look, is this practical? Is it particularly practical to have Logic Pro in such a small area? Not really. But if you have your larger, and this is where a lot of people are speculating now, that perhaps we're about to get much larger versions of the iPad. Maybe we'll get a 15-inch iPad finally, because we've got so much more screen real estate here now to utilize that you could do that. So let's use this to show off some things. So we can say open the Files app, and yes, you can just window them so that you can have them overlapping and do whatever you want. It does make dragging in files a heck of a lot easier if you need to. We've got the new Files app too, which I'll show you around. I'll give you a little tour of afterwards. But yeah, so you can grab your files here and then just drag and drop them and put them straight in your projects. So that does make that easier to do. I've got to import it. Wonder what is this? Now I'm intrigued to find out what this audio is. No idea. Nice. Sounds like a nice little guitar part. So that makes life easier for using files. The other thing we can do is use the tiling mode. So if we tap and hold in the top left, you can see here that we can just hit this and turn it into a tile. So you can have up to 4 like that if you want to. Tap and hold. If you want this to go to full screen, you can just boom, do that. If you want to go tap and hold and put it just on the left, you can do that. And then say you wanted this one on the right, you can do that. So, yeah, it does give you a little bit more flexibility to move things around. Yeah, please, as Thomas says, don't update to the new version. And, yeah, I'm a professional. Don't try this at home. Yeah, even when the public beta comes out, I would avoid it. Even when the full release comes out, I would wait. 26.01 is kind of where I start considering it on my daily driver devices. 26.1, usually if you want to be super, so it depends on how, if you are right out there, so it depends on your risk level. If you love living on the edge, then you can just go ahead and do this now. Whatever. Hey, hang the consequences. If you are a bit more conservative, wait till the public release. If you are a little bit more conservative again, wait till the .01 release where they iron out any of the day one bugs, because there will be day one bugs. And if you're ultra conservative, i.e. you value your music and you value your creations over and above the new shininess, then wait for the .1 release. And I basically say that every time. I'll warn you again when we get closer to the date, but yeah, it's my go-to. It's my usual way of doing things when it comes to this stuff. I'm intrigued by the pointer stuff again. So it's under pointer control and accessibility. Let's see if we can find this, shall we? So I do like, okay, I'm going to nerd out a bit here. I do love that when I flick up, it does that. It puts that there and that there. And then I can can you bring them back? Oh yeah, you just double tap. So you flick up and they just whoo, they just open like curtains, and I'm a bit of a sucker for that. And then we jump in and so the animations are actually kind of rad. I don't mind it. So pointer control. I thought we looked at pointer control, but maybe we didn't. And you can always search for stuff here. Pointer control. No. Why is it not finding a pointer? So it's got trackpad. All right, let's go to accessibility. We're going this way. Accessibility. Whoop, that's voice control. We didn't want that. Pointer control in accessibility. Here we go. Right, so this is where it is. Thanks, Apple, for making things really simple as always. So, the color, you can change the color up here. So if you don't want it to have any color, it's just going to be boring gray. It can be white. It can be blue, red, green, yellow, or orange. And you can change the border width as well. So you can have it mega chungus like that, or you can have it super slimline. I actually don't mind it a bit slimmer. I might go with a slightly slimmer border on my pointer there. Your size, you can go everything from itsy bitsy tiny to mega pointer. I actually kind of like the mega pointer. Clunk, clunk, clunk. All right. Yeah, this is exactly what I wanted. Thank you, Emilio. So I go for sort of medium size. That looks cool. Automatically hide pointer. I don't like using that. I like to have it. You can increase the contrast of the pointer to make sure that you can see it behind things a little bit better. What else do we have? We don't want to ignore the track. Double tap to drag, trackpad inertia, and then you got your scrolling speed. So there's not really anything else. I thought they might have given you different shapes. That would have been cool. If you could have like a guitar-shaped pointer, that would be nice. But no, apparently this arrow is the only pointer you have. And it's interesting that it's a different arrow. So it's almost like they went, we can't give them the same arrow you have on a Mac. It's got to be a different kind of arrow. Because if you look at your Mac arrow, oh no, it doesn't show me. That's right, it doesn't show you in this program, the arrow on the screen. I forgot about that. All right, but yeah, so that's your track. So where is that? That's accessibility. So you need to go to two places. So there's track. Is there? There's trackpad. I wonder if it's the same for mouse. I'll have to install a mouse and check this out. There's trackpad. I think there's still like the mouse and pointer devices, isn't there? There's still. Basically, there's always been three different places because Apple just assumed that if you hook up a mouse, you don't really care about changing any of the parameters. And it's like, well, that's kind of BS. Of course you do. And then they're like, oh, but we'll put all this other stuff under accessibility. And I, personally, would argue that changing the size and the color of your pointer, nothing really to do with accessibility. The contrast, sure. The auto hide settings and whatnot, sure. But the rest of it, no. So what else is going to be important here for a iPad user that's creating music with GarageBand and with Logic Pro? Well, it's Files, isn't it? So Files has had some changes. The Files app. Let's full screenify it by tapping there. Oh, you know what I didn't show you? The Logic Pro menu. It's just everything in one. It's just every keyboard shortcut under Logic Pro, and then the standard window settings, which is just your move and resize window stuff. So yeah, they haven't done anything with this as yet. And the reason I reckon that they have tweaked the GarageBand one, but not this one yet, is because GarageBand's installed on every device, whereas Logic Pro is a paid subscription. So they would have prioritized things like iMovie and GarageBand to make sure that when they dropped this development beta, that they actually had that looking a little bit neater and tidier. So all I imagine will happen in future versions is that they will change up this and put it across the top with all the different settings like mix and file and stuff like they did for GarageBand. But once again, the good news is you can get to your Logic Pro settings by just jumping over like that. And it means if you don't know where they are, that's a handy dandy one for you. I must admit, I get myself all caught up here, and eventually I just kind of go, I just want to go back to my comfort zone. Where's my full screen button? There it is. Okay, so you go back to full screen there. Definitely. I would expect all of the apps to have updates with iPadOS and iOS 26 and macOS 26. Not significant. I think because they're doing so much, here's the bad news, folks. Because they're doing so much with the interface, and it's a massive change to the interface, I don't think they're prioritizing. Because we've just had a Logic Pro update, and we've got a new pack for GarageBand, Look, I've said this before and then they prove me wrong, but I wouldn't be holding your breath for a big update to Logic Pro or GarageBand. I think it's really just going to be to make it work and be compatible with the new interface. I don't think there will be significant changes. They will definitely update their apps. Like, they're not going to leave them looking clunky like this. They will make them smoothly integrate with the new multitasking functionality and maybe add in some things like, in fact, I'll show you one more thing. Because I know many of you use things like LumaFusion or iMovie or DaVinci Resolve or something like that. They've now got the ability, so here's the last video I did all about the Files app. They've now got the ability that if you render out a file, so let's come in here and we'll render this movie out. I'll just leave the settings like that. That while it's actually rendering a movie, you can now actually multitask. So you can now just jump over here and let it do that in the background, and it will still keep going while you do other things. It used to be that as soon as you switched the window, it would stop. Now, it prioritizes the window that you're on, so it won't render as fast if you're here in Logic Pro or GarageBand or somewhere else doing stuff, but it will still render in the background. And I've tested this out. I basically started the render and then came and went over to Logic Pro and just played back my track for a while and left it, and came back here, and it wasn't showing anything because it had actually been done. It had actually finished and it had already dumped it out into the Photos app. So that's cool. The multitasking is going to be handy if you're doing things like that for large audio projects and especially for video projects. But there's a bunch of other stuff within the Files app, which if we zoom in and whoa, yeah, you see there's always some weird kind of things there where it's, at the moment, the animations look super smooth and slick until they don't, until they kind of break. Hello, Joel Crouch. Thanks for being here as well. Anyone else who's here and lurking and working, let me know. Hope you're doing well. So the Files app here, you've now got two modes. You can go to this tabbed mode, which I don't particularly like, but if you prefer more screen real estate for your file stuff, you can do that, or use your sidebar like we've got there. There's a bunch of new things we can add in here, which I kind of like. So you can add in the date and the size and some other view options here. Having the size easily addable there is handy. And you'll see here I've got date modified and date created. So I like having both of those available for me, and you can change the sizing in between these by just dragging them around. So before, you tried to add more than like 1 or 2 data points and you completely ran out of room. Whereas now, as you can see there, you can actually have a decent amount of space in between and keep things looking schmick. A few other changes under the hood, not a heap. If we double tap here, you can choose your open with, which is handy if you're always opening files like music files with QuickTime, or you want to always open your PDFs or your pictures with the new preview app, which is finally over here. So we've finally got preview on iPadOS as well as on macOS where it came from. Your Get Info has a little bit more handy info in here, including that open with option that we had before. And yeah, just all in all, it's a bit better. That's what they'll go with. It's like Logic, what is it? iPadOS 26. It's a bit better, or at least it will be once it's ready to rock and roll. And you can see there, you can even have your color coding for your different folders. I don't know. See, you've got color coding and you've still got the tag there. I don't know why you need both, but maybe that's just because it's doing cross compatibility with your Files app. Because the one thing it doesn't want to do is mess up your files for when you go back. So that's the other thing I'll say. Again, do not open a project file or do not open any files in iPadOS 26 or iOS 26 that you're working on another device. We've seen this happen before where it just ruins it. It adds something in there, it corrupts it, and then you go to try and open it on your older device that's running the current version, and it says no. It says this doesn't exist, this is corrupt, this has been broken. Don't do it. Again, friends don't let friends use beta versions when they're working on projects. Just so happens I have a second device and I'm not working on a major project at the moment, to the point where I'm actually pondering and considering throwing this on my main iPad. The only reason I'm not is that Songtemper's coming. But don't tell anyone, but I am actually considering using the Mac this Songtemper. I know. Would everyone just leave and go running for the hills? But I think I've never actually created an entire song on Logic Pro for Mac. So maybe this becomes that. Yes, as Mark says, if you're going to do it, always duplicate it and then play with your copied version. Never play with your current full production version of any files on here. So, yeah, changes to the Files app. Multitasking and windowing is kind of fun. Outside of that, not really much new here. Nothing really happening. Not in a bad way. Tom's excited. Yeah, do it on the Mac. I don't know. I'd probably still start on GarageBand iOS, but it would be less important because I'd be able to throw it. Maybe I'll use Fruity Loops. Do you dare me? Do you double dare me? FL Studio Live today in FL Studio. Who would have ever thought it would be possible? Wonder if this project is playing yet or if it's still buzzing. Oh, there, it's back. Sort of. All right. So yeah, it's working a little bit better there. So what do you reckon? Yeah. I don't know that I'm ever going to turn that transparency on again, because if you're just joining us, I went into accessibility here and went to my where was it? Display and text size, and you can actually reduce the transparency there. So this just means that things here where it had that whole see-through kind of thing, it just gives them a boring grey background. Because you know what? I'm a boring grey background kind of guy. So I kind of like that. And I'm a function over form every day and twice on Sunday. So that's probably something that I'll play with. Oh, one final thing that someone mentioned that I thought was kind of cool, and that is that you can actually open 2 copies of the same app. If you go here and you go new window, you can get like 2 files apps, and that's not really very interesting until you do something like tile them up, and then you can have, apparently not, and then you can't have another one. Oh yeah, look, I've got 2 there. It tiled that one, but it didn't tile this one. Okay, that's useful. There you go. So yeah, you can have 2 versions of the same app open, and then you can like move things. So for people that use like Norton Commander or Xtree back in the DOS days, you can do that. I don't know what's going on with this weird graphic thing over the top there. Again, some of your things will look weird and wacky because it's a beta version. But that's another thing. You can open 2 versions of the same app. Final thing that I wanted to mention is go and check out Patrick's been crushing it. He's been checking out a bunch of other things. If we come over here, Patrick, no, don't search Patrick, search GarageBand Guide, because Patrick's been doing some great things. This one here, the iPadOS videos that he's been dropping. Go and check these ones out. I'll put, especially this one, where he actually like hooks it up to an external screen and does a bunch of cool things. I would go and watch that video, because he's been hooking up audio interfaces and using external displays and trying all sorts of cool looking things. And he's a good guy, and he makes really good videos. I know. I'm probably supposed to he's supposed to be my big rival, and I'm supposed to say, grrr, don't watch GarageBand Guide, but no, watch GarageBand Guide. And I'm hoping, I haven't told Patrick this yet, but I'm hoping I can get Patrick on this show in the next couple of weeks to get his views and his thoughts on iPadOS 26 and the future of creating music using this wonderful device that we use. My thing usually looks weird and wacky. There you go. Maybe do a demo song in iOS and record. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's what I'm sort of thinking, because the reason I love GarageBand for my songwriting and for my demos is I can take it with me everywhere. So if it's on my phone, I can just fire it up, and if I've got an idea for a vocal, I literally just record it in. Like just using the external microphone on this, I'll just record in my ideas, and then we can tweak it later. Whereas as soon as you're in Logic or as soon as you're on the Mac, you can't. It makes it difficult. So yeah, that's probably the way we'll go. Is to do the ideas first and then move it across there. 2112. We have assumed control. Yeah. little bit of Rush references. Speaking of Rush, and speaking of awesome Canadians, guess what? It's that time of the week where our old mate Frank Terzo is doing his Community Pulse, the 67th edition of the Community Pulse, if you can believe it. And the cool thing is, he's got someone that many of you know and that I know and love, and that is Mr. Mike Hageth. Yes, Hageth is on the Community Pulse show today. So if you would like to check that one out, I've put a link there in the chat right now because we're finishing up in around about 2 minutes. So then you can go over there, say g'day to who's he got? He's got Red Jettison and Mike Hageth and Mr. Frank Terzo over there on that one. Very cool stuff indeed. So yeah, jump on over there, check that one out. If you've got any final questions, final comments on this stuff, do let me know. As I said, we are finishing up in just a couple of minutes. I'm just making sure that, yeah, he's over there, he's rocking. All hail Hageth. Absolutely. He's cool. A lyricist drummer. Drummers are actually okay. Like, there's been some, obviously there's Phil Collins from Genesis. He was like not the OG. I'm sure there were drummers who sang before Phil, but yeah, drummers that can sing actually super impress me. Like they're next level. It's very, very cool. I'm just stalling for time because I realized I haven't set up my redirect, so I can send you all over to Mr. Frank Terzo. What's coming up for the rest of the week? Well, nothing short term. I'll have another couple of iPadOS 26 videos dropping in the next couple of days about some of the other features that we looked at here, such as the windowing and the multitasking and some other things that are new to iPadOS 26. We didn't check out the Apple Music stuff. Maybe I'll do a separate video on that as well, so you can check that out. So you can go there. I'm having a couple of days off because, as you can probably tell, I'm okay today. I think I only had 1 or 2 coughs. If you watched YML yesterday, I was coughing and spluttering like every 5 minutes. So I'm definitely on the mend, which is good. But yeah, this cold season. Very glad I had my flu shot because otherwise it could have hit me a lot harder. Levenhelm, the band. Nice. The Eagles. Oh, did Don Henley, was he a drummer? See, that's how little I know. All I know about the Eagles is that everyone should be angry at them because they are really aggressive with their copyright. That's the main thing. Singing while running on a Peloton. You know what I used to actually do? Who played Rock Band? I'll talk about this, a little nostalgia, and then we'll finish up. I played Rock Band back in the day, and at one point, like I wanted to play the drums on Rock Band. Yep, fair enough. And then I got a mic stand, and I had the microphone, and I'd do the singing and drumming on Rock Band. And I'm like, hey, this is actually pretty rad. This is cool. And then one day I had the crazy idea of trying to do guitar and drumming and singing at the same time. So I would use my feet on the pedals for the drums, and then when I needed to hit the snare, I'd be playing the guitar and hitting the snare and the cymbals. I could only do it on like amateur mode. I couldn't do it on the pro modes. But yeah, just picture me sitting on a drum stool with my feet on the kick drum and the hi-hat pedals, and then playing the guitar and singing while using the head of the guitar to hit the snare and the cymbal pads on a drum kit. I didn't take any video of me doing it at the time, but it would have been a fun thing to do. Yeah, I think I did hate Eagles. Well, that's the thing. I wanted to replicate like a one-man band. I just needed like the harmonica. Yeah, I must admit, there's some buskers that do good stuff like that. Multitasking for the win. And I'm really not. I couldn't do it these days. We're talking late 20s, back when I had more fitness and flexibility and dexterity. These days, I'd struggle big time. Hey, thanks for hanging out. This is probably one of my favorite shows of the week. Again, I know it's tangents and it's rants and it goes off in different directions, but yeah, it's always a fun time, and it's always good to have you folks here with me live. Thanks to Emilio and to Robert and others for helping me navigate around and find the different things. That'll be good because I'll be able to do that, how to set up your new pointer in iPadOS 26, which will be a fun thing. And yeah, there's tomorrow's video sorted. Thanks to you fine folks here. On your way out, if you can hit the thumbs up button, that would be really cool. Yes, you can use the Rock Band drum as a MIDI controller. They're USB. they're epic. If you've got one, plug it in. The guitars don't really do much. They trigger really random things. But the keyboard, the drums, and the microphone, the USB microphone is just a USB microphone. Doesn't have a headphone jack, so it makes it a bit hard to use. But if you just needed to plug something in to record something, and you got an old SingStar or Rock Band or Guitar Hero microphone sitting around, yeah, it's a USB mic, baby. Plug it in, use it. All right, that's going to do for this one. Please, folks, this week, be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, keep creating, and I'll see you next time here on GarageBand Weekly.